Hold on. I gotta get it.
In a world, one man by himself trying to figure out the mysteries of life. Guys, we are back again with another episode of AMICY Theory.
Welcome.
Sac Passe. What's going on, guys? My name is Alex.
Alan.
Oh, you should. Sorry.
You took it, so I was like, Alan.
Welcome to the AMICY Theory channel.
Welcome.
When we come our lives, we do everything in our power to discover the wonders of life. So today we got the white lie we've all been told about Roman statues. I saw a clip somewhere randomly, and I was like, "Hey, let me go randomly look this information up."
We talk about this
and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." So, apparently, like all of the statues that we see, that all like of the Roman statues and stuff like that, and they used to be like, "Oh yeah, they all used to be all painted white marble and stuff like that." They were never that color. They were all very colorful.
Yeah.
It's just that they painted them over to make them all white.
So they stuck in your brain. That
Exactly.
No, it was a white person.
Let's get into this video, guys. Let's get popping.
Let's get it. Tell the truth.
Is Caesar Augustus. He was the first official emperor of the Roman Empire, and if you've ever had to study Roman history, you might be familiar with this little sculpture's very famous original.
Yep.
It's called the Augustus of Prima Porta. It was carved in the...
Is that the one that had the Romulus and something else? Romulus and...
I don't know.
Roman... It was the two... It was the ones that were raised by the wolves. It was like the two brothers. Like, oh, dang, so long ago.
Hey, add that to the list to check out.
I know.
The 1st century AD during his reign as emperor. Then it was lost to time before it was dug up again in the 1860s. Today, it lives in the Vatican museums alongside a bunch of other famous sculptures. But Augustus, he's not supposed to look like this. He's supposed to look like this.
So that's what it used to look like. What?
How do we let this slide? First off,
because I think like war and stuff like that, like something like that, they were like painted over to like because I think a lot of time by the time they discovered, a lot of the paint was faded, so they just paint them white. So a lot of the sculptures were like removed from history. The original people. What's new? You should like, go to the freaking like people like black guy nose off. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, true that. But I'm just like, how do we not be like, what color was the robe? We never questioned it.
Because that's what happens. History is written by the winners until you actually go to the location where so like whatever information you're given was because of the person won. Just like when people look at American history, they're like we're the greatest. Like, you ever live in the United States, you find out you're not? Okay. But continue to learn whatever you're learning, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. The reason that you're learning American history is because you're in the United States. You leave the United States, you actually learn real history about everything else. And they're like, oh my God, it's crazy.
He's supposed to look like this.
That's so much better. Colorful. You're seeing the emblems. We need to learn about the Moors. That's going to be a good video.
Let's get this out of the way. Ancient Greece and Rome were really colorful. Their buildings were full of intricate frescoes.
Even the
and
buildings were
mosaics,
colorful.
and covered with vibrantly painted statues of
white.
Things like epic battles, glimmering gods, and pretty flowers. But today, most of us picture something more like this. Brilliant white marble as far as the eye can see. We're wrong, but it's not our fault. It's Hollywood's fault. And our high school textbook's fault.
See?
But most of all, it's this guy's fault. Well, not him. He's just a statue. The blame lies with Michelangelo, the guy who sculpted him, and with many others who made white marble statues during the Renaissance, when European artists, philosophers, and scientists developed a renewed interest in the creations of classical Greece and Rome. Artists like Michelangelo began studying Roman sculptures, like this one, Laocoon and his Sons. They fell in love with its lifelike figures, dramatic scene, and pristine white surface. But sculptures like this weren't meant to be white. Their paint had just faded after being buried or left out in the open air for hundreds of years. So when the Renaissance artists set out to imitate them, they left their masterpieces bare too. And that style took over.
So essentially what they're saying is that the Renaissance artists were stupid.
Yeah, and just
ruined it for everybody else. Got it.
Inspiring generations of sculptors.
Jeez.
White marble became the norm. Along the way, art historians reinforced this bias. Namely this guy, Johann Joachim Winckelmann. He's sometimes known as the father of art history. In the 18th century, he wrote a hugely influential book on ancient art. In it, he argued that statues like this one, the Apollo of Belvedere, were the epitome of beauty. Because the whiter the body is, the more beautiful it is. He went out of his way to ignore obvious evidence of colored marble, and there was a lot of it, especially after the rediscovery of the ancient Roman city of Pompeii in the 1700s. Pompeii's near perfectly preserved frescoes featured all sorts of colored statues, and one particular mural of an artist in the act of painting a sculpture. This
Like
colorful
white.
sculpture was also found in Pompeii. Winkelmann claimed it was too primitive to have been made by them.
But evidence wasn't just ignored. Some of it might have been destroyed. Remember Augustus? When archaeologists rediscovered him in the 1860s, they said his tunic was crimson, his armor was yellow, and his mantle, that's this thing, was purple. And this is him now.
It's unclear if Augustus lost his color by accident as a result of overcleaning, or if it was removed on purpose. But either way, the same thing happened to a bunch of other famous monuments and sculptures, like the Parthenon in Athens, which once looked something like this. By the 18th century, it had faded to something more like this, with just hints of color left. But today, even those are gone.
Luckily, art historians have since shifted to believe it's not about what people think looks better. It's about what's accurate. But
Yes.
how do they get from this to this?
To start, there are some surviving ancient descriptions of more famous sculptures, which is how we know that the Parthenon once held a statue of the goddess Athena that was ivory and gold,
statue.
wearing a helmet adorned with the likeness of a sphinx. And if you look closely at some sculptures, there are still obvious traces of color, like the remnants of deep purple on this statue's clothing. That's how early reconstructions like these were made. Today, scientists can extract and test those tiny samples to determine the original pigments used.
Right?
But when there aren't any visible colors, they have another tool: ultraviolet light.
They got the
Certain
they got the
pigments
tools.
I
glow
know.
under UV light, exposing traces that would have been otherwise invisible. When scientists photographed this archer's legs under UV light, they saw this.
My thing is this: why go through the trouble of of sculpting these guys' nuts and just not putting the wieners there? Like, you already there. Like that one painting, all it was just balls. Where's the rest of the thing? What are we doing here? Look at this. Look at this. It's nothing. It's whole. What are we doing here? They were just ahead of their time, apparently.
They saw this, a dizzying array of geometric patterns and saturated colors. And when they compared it to trace pigments on a similar statue, they were able to make this reconstruction.
Which, to be clear, is about as ancient as mine.
Because conservationists never add color to the original. They use 3D scanners to create plaster replicas.
Which they then painstakingly repaint, with far greater accuracy than I can.
Seeing these sculptures in full color might be a little shocking at first, but that's probably because we've only seen them one way for centuries. To the Greeks and the Romans, painting a sculpture made it complete. Color could make marble seem human, or godlike. It infused them with drama and emotion. It brought history and mythology to life. And even though these reconstructions aren't perfect, seeing these statues in color can bring us a little closer to understanding what the ancient world might have looked like.
Oh, that's interesting. Guys, that was the white lie we've been told about the Roman statues. Guys, we love learning things about the world that we essentially would have never thought about getting a chance to check out. So we appreciate you guys always tuning in and checking out. It's something that we get a chance to check out. You guys know how to find us on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere else, Discord, wherever we usually are. And we appreciate you guys continuously to subscribe and supporting this channel. What are you gonna say?
Thank you. No.
Guys, listen, if you're not part of the squad, you know what to do. Click on that subscribe button below and join us and be a part of the squad. And at all times, don't cheat yourself.
Love thyself.
We still don't have a name for the AMICY Theory subscribers. What should we name them?
The AMICY Theorist. Nope, that's not
That's
good.
that's
too long.
garbage. Hello, fellow
Amicist.
Okay. We'll figure it out, guys.
Yeah, we will.
Keep it AMICY. Peace. This guy said-
I